What's up, Vanguardians? Welcome y'all to the show today. It's called Ask the Trainer when we talk about dogs. This part of the show is pretty much free. Well, information is priceless and game is to be sold and not told. But you get it for free for being at a Vanguardian show. And I'm Grandmaster Von der Muff. So we were sitting around just talking a little dog talk, and I thought it would be very interesting to share my opinion with you guys about what's a good guard dog. What's a good the character? What's the good characteristics of a good guard dog, protection dog? It's pretty much almost the same, but a guard dog and a protection dog is not the same. So this is live. So remember, personal protection dog is a guard dog is a dog that stays in a particular place and guards property. So there's a difference between those dogs if you don't know. If you say, oh, I want a guard dog. Well, you want a dog that just guards your property. Just the area. Stays in the area and you use him to guard things. And so if you look at that, when you say a personal protection dog, now that's a totally different dog. Those dogs don't have the same job. A personal protection dog is controlled by the shepherd, through an obedience commands. So it's a different dog, and he has to obey those commands, and he has to respond to those commands. Where your guard dog don't necessarily have to perform any obedience commands. He may know to come and hear and some stuff, but it's good to teach a guard dog just like any other dog. But its purpose is to stay in that area and keep people from coming or entering onto the property, or breaking into a building, or stealing items that are very important to you that's on that property. And you train them different. And so those dogs have different pictures painted in their eyes. But ultimately, you do want good characteristics in their genetics for being tough, for being sharp. Sharp. To hear things, to gate anything, just constantly always a barker like a chihuahua. That's how I choose a guard dog. Or I might say, and they both still have to have that aloofness, because with a guard dog, and not necessarily a personal protection dog, because a personal protection dog, when you training him or her, some people want their dog social, or some may not. And so then the guard dog, you want to have that aloofness in him where he's not trustworthy of no goddamn body. I don't want you on my property. You know what I'm saying? So the dog is not friendly. You can't come to the gate and feed him hot dogs and sausages. He's probably been trained not to accept food, and he's always full because he got a bin full of food over there to keep him where that desire is fulfilled. And you want the aloofness in that dog, and you want the civil drive still in them where they bite for real, which you want that in your protection dog. So they come from the same kind of genetic background. It's just that you're painting pictures differently. And also what makes the job so easily when you're going into whatever sector with that dog is to choose a dog that naturally does this on his own. If I want a dog just to find my scented balls, now this is a scented ball. This ball here is Mr. Henry Brunson. He ordered a package from us, so We're sending out one of our thumb drives with a training video on it, a scented ball, and we have a protection sleeve. And it's not in here. Protection sleeve for Mr. Brunson. So I appreciate you for buying one of those protection starter kits for your dog to take your dog to the next level of training. And then that's what all of you need to do, is take your dog to the next level of training. You know, and so get your tools. So what are good characteristics of a good guard dog and a good protection dog? That's what we're talking about. And that's what I'm explaining to you. You know, guard dogs, they always exhibit a trait of such loyalty to their master among all, and they're very like one owner type dogs. And you don't have no desire to make them very friendly and social to people. A lot of people have taken dogs that wouldn't naturally a guard dog and made a good guard dog, and he would allow people to come in the property as long as the owner was there, the master was there, and the dog can still do his job. But a good guard dog, you're locking him up when you're there in the daytime, or when you're not there, they just roam free. They have free range to do what they expect. The intelligence and the alertness is something that we want in all of our dogs. Intelligence, that's to be able to be independent and a self-thinker, a dog that can learn fast, learn the exercises that you're teaching him. His or her light bulb goes off, and they know the job and the program. And the alertness is the aloofness that I'm talking about. That comes from genetics too. So that dog has to be able to, when you sleep at night, you laying in the bed and you hear, and so normally it's quiet, and that's when you get the best out of your dogs, you know, as far as to know if they're doing their job. And they hear raccoons or raccoons, or whatever you want to call them, and other dogs and people. If you're in the city, they hear all kind of stuff, and they respond to that in their alertness, and they bark and let you know that someone's there. And you could tell when your dog is in those deep civil drives, when they're older, they have a different bark when somebody's there and when somebody's not there. You know, they have a totally different bark. And that's the kind of bark when you're training your protection work, your police work, or any type of work in the end of level 3. That's the kind of bark you're looking for. And normally in my games, I'm looking for that kind of bark all the time. These breeds commonly recognize their guarding, and you can recognize their guarding abilities in all of them, from your Rottweilers and your Dobermans and your German Shepherds. Every dog you can recognize that in these dogs when you have them out in the field. And if you don't see that naturally, I don't look forward to saying this dog is going to be that kind of dog if I don't naturally see it. Now, this is where trainers beat their head up against the wall. You know, when I say this is where us, the dog people, all of us has been in that boat. We've all been on this little boat where we say, oh, he's so pretty and she's so this and so that. I'm going to make her be a guard dog. Oh, it's just training. And you say, I'm going to be patient with her because she can get it. She just got to learn it. That's when you got to make a decision. You got to make a decision once you're in the boat. Once you stepped in the mess, you got to stay in the mess. That's because you invested and you love the dog, but the dog is truly not that. It is what it is from day one. You can see it. And you're only going to bring the dog up a few levels. And if it don't get it, it ain't going to go to that next level. And so these dogs, we can see it in them very early. That's, for instance, the difference I want when you're talking about a police dog, a dog I like training dogs, those kind of dogs to go in those sectors, He is much like the guard dog. He is much like a personal protection dog because the police is paired up with a dog. It's called K9 unit. The K9 unit is a group of people who handle dogs, and they utilize dogs as a deterrent and to apprehend suspects, to protect their person and people, as well as to be able to track down explosives, accelerants, let's use that word, accelerants, and find narcotics, and sometimes used to track down people. And so those dogs are the same special dog, but in some direction of change throughout the year, they want a PR dog too. So this is a well-balanced dog. He's not a more aloof dog like your guard dog. Your guard dog naturally hates people, and you don't have no desire to change it. The police dog got to be around other officers in the uniform, and you can't necessarily say the dog recognized these guys in the uniform and not to bite them, but the dog can see a visual similarity possibly, but you don't want the dog to bite other officers, and those mistakes have happened for getting dogs that are 2-1 on a dog. But if you get a PR dog and he's constantly training every day for that program to bite somebody, a suspect, they train with the guy laying on the ground. You be like, well, if he laying on the ground, he don't need to be bit. He's a dude. But you know, some of these guys want to see a bite and got the dog up close. They practice that in case the guy jump up. They practice guy being in the building, and so these officers standing behind you, and the dog get used to that. But these police dogs, the difference is they're more of a level-headed dog. You will want a level-headed dog, an accurate and sure dog. He's not necessarily any different from those dogs. It's just, again, the program that he went into and the type of training and the pictures you paint in his head. You're going to train those dogs to pick up in just about anything. Plastic, balls, metal objects, wooden objects, just anything a suspect can leave behind. Not be afraid to pick up your glasses if you need glasses on, like I just need it now. You want those dogs to be able to go under things, over things, through things, to walk in buildings and not be afraid. And that dog has to be a good balanced dog is what I'm saying. And if he's not a good balanced dog, then we could consider putting our lives on the line out here in the street with those kind of dogs. And you can still have some of those bad traits in your guard dog. Might not want to go in the building, but I want him to be all around too. But he can get away with not being able to be the kind of dog a police dog could be, or a protection dog, and vice versa for any of them, you know. But a good guard dog and a good protection dog and a good protection sports dog still all have the same genetics to produce the same kind of dog that we are in question today. What are the characteristics of a good guard dog and a good protection dog, or a good police dog? Now, the service dog and the kind of dog you're gonna use for just search and rescue, then they're the ultimate social bug. That's the little dog that walks around all the time. He always got that ball in his mouth. Always has a ball in his mouth, or a stick or something in his mouth. That little puppy is always happy, go following you foot to foot, running in the house, jump on the sofa, still got that ball in his mouth. You're going to take that ball and you're going to put odors in it, and you're going to play these games. And that dog has to be so much of a good social dog to go anywhere, because he's going to be tracking down people who are possibly have a illness and lost, and those people are out there and need to be found, or remains of somebody, and that's what it's about. That dog doesn't have to be aloof. You remember I said the alertness, all of those things. It just be a good old nice little pet that has the drives to want to chase behind things and play a little tug game, and don't necessarily have to have necessarily have to have that aloofness in them or that deep civil awareness where they want to bite everybody and that not just their master. Let me speak to everybody that's on here so I don't think you guys think that I'm not speaking. Well, hey, we got Weebay Gray. I remember that name. What's good today, my Vanguard? It's good, brother. We're talking about all of these good old ways to pick you a dog and the difference between them. Salute the DK9. The information you gave me live has been you have been using. I appreciate you using the information from the last live. Yeah, man. Yeah, man. Yeah, man. Yeah, man on here. Does a sport dog translate to real world? Well, I've learned of sleep happy dogs. Well, I think you meant to say sleeve. I'm going to assume. And if I'm assume that, let's say this. Well, and because we're talking about translating to real world and the sleeve happy dogs, or the word or term that will probably be used a lot, yeah, man. In the dog world, when they're talking about it, it's going to say a dog that's locked into prey. Now, let me tell you why that happens. And I could be, I'm not wrong, and I won't necessarily say I'm just always right. Because you got to understand what these creatures perceive in their training. You got to remember, if you take a sleeve or prey item and you got the dog, you come outside when the dog was 2 months old when you first got it, and you make it chase a little rag, right? So you emulated that rag was a rat or a cat or a dog, some kind of predator. He don't know what kind of predator it is. You know that's a sleeve. He don't know that it ain't live, but you make it look so animated that he or she runs after it. Good Lord, you did that 21 days later, and it's 3 months old. Now it knows the game and it loves it when it hears it. Oh my. Then you turn around and you continue to play this game on a consistent level. Get him, boy. And he chased after that little sleeve. Now you put a little rag or whatever, and now you're using different stuff and make him chase after it and grab on it. And he bites that. Then you make him chase the sleeve or like that the same way, and then he bites on the sleeve. What happens? So, from my perspective, as a grand master of reality, not saying I know what dogs think, I'm just saying from my perspective, from what I'm thinking from watching animal behavior, you made the sleeve a cat. You made the sleeve a rat of something that could be live or not live, but so interesting that when he gets it automatically he kills it. And it's just something you gotta fight to get away from him, and y'all fighting over it like it's a caucus, and later on you train him to let it go and it's yours, and it always comes out it's on the arm of one of these people. But it's not the person. Now you got hundreds of episodes or moments. You got hundreds, maybe thousands scenarios where this dog has ran out and chased this little thing on a rag for about 2 or 3 years, or even a year, and then 6, 7. I don't care when you start using the sleeve, the arm sleeve, and now it's chasing the arm sleeve like that. And these people in the sleeve don't really hurt them. Later on, y'all might start emulating the stick in the air, faking like in Shih Tzu. Or you might hit them later on like they do in personal protection because they want it to look real and seem tough. But, the dog anticipating it because it's just a routine. It's the same old routine. But you did it so long, and you have not that many scenarios where the dog is actually receiving a threat of pain or something, a person without the sleeve. Thank you, Doug. You always lift my heart. You got so many scenarios where the dog has no hours or time being where somebody just different people, they standing up in the store and all of a sudden somebody run up to them and grab their skin. Most people don't want to be bit. So it's hard for you to get people to help you to train. And you talking to them and you're not programming the dog half the time, the people you do get to do it when you're around. So now this dog don't really have that many hours of situations to intellectual figure out the game and make them similar, but he thinks he doesn't know about the pain. This is a game where nobody hurts me. I get to run out and grab it. It's always on the human's arm, and humans are my friends. You know, they speak to me and talk to me, baby, talk. See what I'm saying? How can you make a good transition for real world if you know nothing about dog training? You can't. So these games have to be taught by a professional who understands what I understand or sees the training in the light of the dogs that we're talking about in question were good candidates to be personal protection dogs because they had good high drive, they chase things, they grabbed hold to it with no issue, and we love this. They just was so energetic. But we put the wrong picture in the dog's head from day one. So am I saying it's bad to teach a dog protection work? I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is you gotta know when to fold them, when to back out, when to start, when to do enough of this and when to do enough of that. You gotta be able to read the dog. You gotta understand the dog's mind, where he's at. You gotta be a trainer. You gotta be a seasoned vet. Somebody who has the dog's best interest, not somebody telling you something to make some money off you. You know? You gotta be a good manager of a dog. You gotta have the knowledge to understand these things before you go out here and do these things. You got to understand why you're training this at this age and what level the dog has progressed to emotionally, mentally. You see what I'm saying? For his maturity, as well as just everything around the board. Why am I doing it? Yeah, so the transition can be good. Yeah, man, for what I'm saying, from a sports dog to real world. It's just that you don't want to go too many years of his life doing that, too many months doing this too much fake every day. That's fake. It's not real. It's not a real threat. You're not getting jumped on every day you go to the workplace or when you go to Burger King. You're not getting jumped every time you go inside of McDonald's or Tractor Supply or Walmart to get your food. The dog don't have these situations all the time, and if you're doing it all the time this way and not doing it enough of that way, tapping into this genetics, opening up those Pandora boxes the right way at the right time, the right situation, and putting the message in your dog head, then yeah, you're not gonna have a dog that can transition from out of the into the real, what can transition into real world. Because when a guy don't have a sleeve on, he's not gonna want to bite the sleeve. You know, he looking for the sleeve. The dog run up to a man and he circling around him and seem confused. Now you embarrassed. You hate the dog or whatever. It's just that what you did too long, or what they did too long, you know, to the dog in the picture they didn't paint. Well, of course, if a dog bite without a sleeve, you really better be careful. And it's not a play dog. You got to have a dog. You got to contain a dog like that. You know, a lot of times people have dogs and they're young mentally. People are mentally young and not acting professional with these working dogs. And sometimes they act immature as show-offs for you know, big, what they say, big balls. Want to have big balls and show off, and they got these dogs for the wrong reason, and they want to sick it on everybody and pretend with the kids and people. I don't do that with my dogs. You know, and so you got to remember these dogs know when I say it is real, and so they respond to it because they know it's real. And I don't really talk to my dogs around people when we're in the training, so I got professional trainers helping me or professional helpers or well-diverse helpers with the information to kind of read a dog and understand what they should be doing. And we're kind of like a left hand, a clock with the big hand, a little hand, and we're working together. And we work together to get the dog the message. And so if you can get out here and train like that every day with a sleeve, hey man, that's good for developing and all that. It don't take long, and you can tell if a dog got good genetics and can get a good full grip and do all those things. You know, we can't overthink it. And being adults, it is what it is, and that's just what it is right there. If that, hope that helps you. Yeah, man. We got Malagros Sicyon, Sicyon, Malagros Sicyon, Slay. Hello. We got my buddy in the house over there at NWA Carne Corsos and All Dog Breed Podcast. What's up, my brother? I'm glad you're here. If you like dogs like Nero's and Mozzie, to be a very, very social, reality friendly female, what would it produce? Well, you know, that's almost like a 50-50 catch answer, because you got to look at it for two sides of genetics. Now, genetically, those dogs produce me dogs that are very aloof. And so sometimes they don't make good pets, or they don't make good dogs for people who don't understand how to develop them within having that heavy aloofness, that heavy alertness, where they always bark at people, being aggressive towards people, seemingly looking like a weak genetic or a bad trait. You know, if you take a dog like that as a hand puppy and they bark at somebody and you have a bad situation where they kick it and push it away, it's very scary, or it'd be very aggressive from that point on in its life, depending on what it perceived in that situation and how you handle it. Was you there to encourage him or pick him up, or he turned on, or he ran off and you allowed him to run off? It depends. And it depends on how the situations in his life that they can currently run like that, or you change the perception in his mind of the picture that was painted in his mind. Dogs that come from those type of dogs, that produce those type of dogs, what we're talking about. You understand what I'm saying, Doug? So Mozzing them, you can breed them like I've done that, and I bred Neros to all of my dogs were bred to the same dog. Like I take this male and breed him to all the dogs, and next time they eat, I bred all of them to that dog. You know what I'm saying? I did all of them to the same dogs myself. And so that's why I'm able to come from that direction with the information and say that overall those dogs reproduce themselves. And even when I tried to perceive in my mind, like you're saying, I took a very social type female that was well balanced and bred it to those dogs. I still got those same kind of dogs. You know, the aloofness was stronger in them than when I bred them to social females. Now, ironically, I took Nero's and bred him to his first cousin. You know, this flip the pedigree, the daddy to the mama. I took the brother to the mama and sister to this daddy and bred it to these dogs. And we had a cousin, first cousin, if you look at it. So Quattro's sister bred to Tiger, you know, like supposedly half brother. And she was a mean dog. You ever heard a country boy say as mean as a rattlesnake? I'm talking about tried to kill me. I had a fight with her one time when she was about 2 or 3 years old. I'm trying to get to the gate near my house where I got a 6-foot gate. I guess that 6 foot is tall. Not a regular gate like being people's yards, a kind of tall one, almost like at a commercial gate, but not as tall. And I'm trying to hang this female. And then when I finally threw across the gate to try to get across the gate so she can get away from me, and not necessarily say hang her, but I'm lifting her up like I'm at a hangman and trying to keep her off me, and she going crazy. And if I let her feet hit the ground, she used that just enough to spring up at my arm or somewhere, and I'm throwing across the gate, and she coming back across the gate at me. And I'm trying to run down the gate, dragging the line so the line, it'll throw her off her feet and all this, and she was adamant about having me, man. I fought that dog a good 15, 20 minutes. I was about to give up. I was finna let whatever happen, and we was finna just, whatever gonna go from that point, keep going. Whatever was gonna do before she stopped trying to do that to me. I took that female and bred her to Neros, thinking I said, oh, I'm gonna have, these are gonna be the most killer dogs I have ever had in my life. And I promise you, no kidding, that's where Jack the Ripper come from, which was Nero's 2 sire. Now, that whole litter, the whole litter, 6 puppies, 6, 7 puppies, about 6 puppies. Every last one of them came out long-haired. Black long-haired Dutch Shepherds. Black Dutch Shepherds with gold stripes. Not brown with black and gold stripes. They were all black Dutch Shepherds with gold stripes, long hair, beautiful. And they were so high in drive. Every last one of them who I sold around the world to different people, they all got killed the same way. They all got ran over by a car at different ages of their lives. They were so high in drive, it was crazy. But they loved people. I didn't take them dogs around nobody. I didn't let nobody play with them dogs. I didn't socialize those dogs constantly every day. Didn't do any of that stuff. Now, just trying to think. No, they were raised at the house. Just me feeding them. And I'm sure Nicholas at the time maybe went out there once or twice, but he ain't really mess with the puppies. He ain't that kind of little kid. He wasn't that kind of little kid. He liked the dogs, but he wasn't gonna keep trying to bother them and be their friend. None of that kind of stuff. And those dogs were the most stable dogs you'll ever see in your life. They naturally, you could take them in an environment where they never been before, and you'll swear those dogs have been living in those woods or in the jungle or wherever they was. You'll swear those dogs their whole life, they had been running in through out of doors of houses in the building. They wouldn't hesitate about nothing they do. But they was this loving, kind, friendly, outgoing, jumping over stuff, running through stuff, tunnel. You think they was a dog was raised for agility. The whole litter, you would think that's how they was. But boy, when they see a car, when they see a car, every last one of them, when they saw a car, not necessarily another animal. Now they did, some of them, you know, they did that when they seen new people or whatever, people sometimes at night. But when they saw a car, yo, screaming like how Nero's was on the video, but worse, this going crazy. People used to be like, them dogs, that is crazy. But they, you know, person not knowing dogs, they don't know they ain't doing it at you. They was doing that at the cars. And this is how every last one of them looked when they came out. I mean, these dogs look like that, man. Black. See what I'm saying? With gold stripes. Let me make sure I got my lens. Let me wipe my lens off of y'all real good. You see that? Those dogs, man, could be around people, places, animals, things, and be like cold, stunning like that when they see you. They ain't had to run up to them and be all on them. They were just this cold. Like they knew not to just go up to things and stuff. They'd come and greet you and all that other stuff. You ain't had to train them not to go out the yard. Those dogs were so smart, it was ridiculous. They was like sheep herding dogs. You could have them loose, they wouldn't go nowhere, do nothing. But boy, you make a mistake one day and you had them loose with you and on a leash and took them to somewhere in a car, so having to do something to trigger something in their head. It was after that car, man. And you wasn't gonna stop them. They was all young puppies, man. They all lost their life from that. Now, this is Nero's. That was a real serious dog. I don't care what these pictures make him look like. I don't care what them pictures make him look like, bro. He was a killer. That was a real dog. That wasn't no joke. Just an all-around dog. But he was a killer. He was so smart. He was everything. He was just the top security dog around here at our business. But he was still a one-owner dog, but he knew how to go around people, places and things. But you was allowed, you only sold close, but you know, I still maintained control, and he was steady watching me, and he didn't take his face looking off me, looking at me, waiting for that move. He had, like Jack now, like that picture gave you when I showed you them with no expression. He had no expression, but when he exploded, it was explosive, and that's how they were as puppies. But they was not like that, or when I bred two crazy dogs together that you just knew those dogs, every last one of them was going to be that kind of dog. But they didn't bother people. So it don't always, what I'm saying to you, Doug, is it don't always work the way you think it's going to work. What does work is we do remain and retain the ability to work, the prey drive, to chase things, and you can tap into their drives and open them up and redirect them. Just think you could if I'd have raised them myself, then selling them to people, I probably could have directed that towards a person and it looked beautiful. But they naturally wasn't aloof towards people, like growling, having their hair stand up at a young age. It wasn't like that. They didn't come that way. But De Niro's threw that in every last one of his dogs and litters, breeding him to calm dogs and regular dogs. But when I bred him to that dog, it was negative. It was an opposite. And that opposite was towards items and not people. Let's see. Who else we got on here? Oh, we got Martinez. Game dogs. Game dogs. Man, what you got a picture of on there? That Bolio? Man, what you got a picture of? Snooty or Sorrel dog? What kind of dog that is you got on there? It look like I can't even look at the icon. What you got on there, man? You got your Sorrel's dog, a Jeep dog on there, a Snooty dog on there? I can't tell if he got all them white, red and brown, white patches on his face with a black tip and a white tip tail with a black ring around it. Or is that a tan dog? Look powder puff like a Sorrel's dog. That what you got on there, Martinez? Yeah, man. I know you ain't just say, so just start target moving. I know you ain't get that from what I said, little brother. You gonna have to send me a cash app if I gotta spell it out. You know, no, man. Moving and talking, that's still prey. Moving object is praying. That's prey move. But yeah, you're gonna be a moving object if somebody will bark at you and bite you and all that to bring out the characteristic of barking, but the aggressive barking that you're trying to get out of them. And see, you gotta see me telling you this information. I automatically, as a trainer, know you don't know and you're not gonna do it right. And so that's the part that can ruin a good dog. You know, that part, it can make a dog even more dangerous if it's not a good dog for the situation, bringing out characteristics that the dog doesn't have the ability to control, you know, or whatever. And so I can tell from the way you're talking, you don't know. And that's when you don't want to try to do these kind of things. You want to do these things with the help of a professional. Somebody dare to read the dog, see if they can see exactly what you think you seeing. Because, you know, we don't have the same eye. You can make it sound like whatever you want to sound like. But the truth is when it comes to training, it's everybody don't have the same eye. We don't see the same thing. Person don't know animal behaviors and stuff like that. Animal anthology, they don't know why a dog doing what it's doing. And the average person who just have pets or heard somebody else say it, first thing they say, oh yeah, he doing that because he ready to go sleep and lay up under the sofa. You believe that? I don't, they say that stuff, man. I just don't say nothing. I'm the kind of dog, I don't say nothing. I don't be having time to go through that. Man, no, don't do that. You need to wait. Because you got to know what age the dog is. Mentally, is the dog mature? Has the dog had the proper grip and bite before you go into this? It's stages. And those stages has to be determined through evaluation. And the evaluation should be determined by some professional people who are doing it. Because you could take a dog that ain't ready and you can mess him up. You know, but you can bring out, I can teach you stuff to bring out in the dog, but is the dog ready for that at this age or that? You know, true aggressive dog is like not a game. Yeah, he's a dangerous dog, man. You bringing out his true fight aggression is fight a man, stay alive. Just like game dogs want to fight other dogs, these dogs, we can use it to teach them to fight a man and a dog. Yeah, you can. You can. Lone wolf in the house. Street Rosie or Rossi. Street Rossi. What's a bank? A dog that's already trained to help. A dog that's not pure. Bank. Okay. RBG. Yeah, you was trying to understand what it produces a balanced dog. Sometimes we hope that. We don't know. We don't like that. I love the black and gold. That's my favorite color. Remember was it Mozzie? Not Mozzie. It was Negro's, no, it was Kodak's son off Jack's daughter. The dog Jack you saw, Jack was bred to Mako's, which was Nero's daughter. His half sister was more aggressive. And when I bred him back, their sister, there was some little bad, dangerous little dogs. And then her name was Mako's, which was Nero's daughter. Is that right? Wait a minute. Mako's was Nero's daughter and Blue Isis. And I bred her to Jack. So double Nero's. And then I took those dogs. Now those dogs were Nero's 2. That's who Nero's 2 came from, Jack and Mako's. Nero's Blue Isis, Nero's to Emma. Yeah, when Nero's to Emma. That was some bad stuff there. I'm seeing Nero's to Isis. That's the thing. Same thing as Zeus and Thor and Medusa. I repeated that about 3 or 4 times. I'm trying to think of another the dog that came from that breeding. That was pretty tough. Fire was out of Jack to. Yeah, I want to be. No, Fire was off of Lord Nero spread to Nero's 2. Nero's 2, that the son, that son off of Jack and Makos bred to Kodak Mama, Anchor, Quattro to Carlos' daughter off of Donna. Yeah, that produced Fire. I went that side to come that. I put that side, tried that side to see how they would come. Pretty explosive. They shared the aloofness. They didn't get that big. They wasn't that big at all. They lost their size. They all was like little tiny embers. Like they were carbon copies of her size. Okay. To me, Fire was I developed her, so I'll say I developed her very well. She killed puppies. She killed like 3 or 4 of them in the litter when she was number 4 weeks old. I had to raise her in the house. She really didn't get the milk they got, so I thought that's why she was so small and skinny. But they all was kind of small, short like Emma. Never got the size, but they never ever had the size of the heart as most of the Nero stuff. But it was close. Fire had way more than they did, but very unpredictable at times, you know, just like those dogs with their aloofness. She was, you know, she'd be right there, you go, bam, and it happens. That was Emma. She emulated Emma a lot. The other ones, they was okay. You know, I wasn't that excited about the way they ended up, but they were good dogs for people. But I wanted them to be like killer. And but they were small dogs, you know, and I only bred Fire one time. I bred her to Kodak, I believe. I think. Yeah, I think I bred her one time to Kodak before I sold her. And I'm trying to think, did I breed her to Kodak? Just don't remember what happened to him. So yeah, I can't know. Yeah, Kodak. I believe I bred her to Kodak when he was young. Yeah, I would love to be back on y'all's show. I love being over there at NWA, Connie Carsos, man, and All Dog Breed podcast. Y'all bring me back over there. I would love to be on one of them shows, which I would love that. You know what? That's what y'all was calling Joe on here. Joe Church. I didn't know who y'all talking about named Joe. Julia Robertson. Well, hello from Kentucky. Is that what Fort Knox is, where all that gold used to be tucked in away at? Send me some of that gold. No, that's not my boy Max. Down from El Negro. Eli Dog? You talking about El Negro? Was it Chinaman or something like Eli, stuff like that? If I'm not mistaken, El Negro, the real El Negro was out of, was either Chinaman, Eli 3, some mixtures like that, a lot of Carver type stuff. You had a Sorrell's dog when you was, Bert Sorrells, like a Sorrell, Bert Sorrells. Bert Sorrells and another Sorrells, 2 different people. When I was a teen, I didn't know what I had, but she was a people biter. You know I've heard that about them. You know the Sorrel stuff. Do you know Sailor? He was advertised a lot on the back of the magazine. You know that wasn't nothing but like a Bolio daddy bred to another dog and doubled up on it. So it was really the same thing like what produced what a Bolio dog is. So the Sorrel dog was very close in relation to the Hansel Carver. It was a Hansel Carver cross. It was very close related to Bolio dogs. So that's why they probably work well with them. But in the end, they never really put their mark in the game, and took nothing. Yeah, Eli dog, that's what I thought. You want a Dogo Argentina? I don't know. This is not my personal experience, but from all of these trainers that I used to hang with back in the day, they didn't have anything. Shaka, you're right, Doug. Shaka, that's what I was talking about. So Shaka, you're right. So that's it. That's it right there, Doug. Doug, you're right. You're right. Kodak bred to Jack Daughter, and Jack Daughter was off Frida's Home Beat type. It was a inbred Elgos dog. Joe Farm male we bred to a daughter off of Nero's bred to Rose. And Rose was my friend who used to win the Battle of Atlanta dog. So we bred Nero's to her. He took the daughter off a first front of some of the Blue Crosses, and he bred that to his Joe Farm dog. He was so crazy about it. I like Joe Farm Elko stuff. They was real trick dogs, real sports like type dogs, good show winner point type dogs, very obedient, intellectual, small frame, but yeah. And then we took that dog and bred it to Jack because it had that quarter Negroes way back there in the back. Brought it back up. We're line breeding them, so we brought that back up. And that's what produced that female that looks just like the dog you talking about, Shaka. She was black with the gold stripes. Some of them first dogs I had that was coming black like that with the gold in it. And we took her and bred her to Kodak. So I wanted to come back and breed. Kodak is a double bred grandson of Quartro, sire and dam both off of Quartro. And one mama was Blue Isis, the daddy, and the mama side was the Carlos stuff and the Arco Kicker stuff. Bred my dog Donna was off of that Arco Kicker Castor the Group. So I took the daddy, two double grandson off a dog I love off of the daddy of Nero's, which was Quartro, and I took some line bred Nero stuff and bred it to Quartro stuff. So I bred the daddy to the son side to see how that would blend. And that's the continuance of what you see me training with them dogs. I got my program and my plan how I breed them. So, I be trying different ways. Although Quartro is Nero's sire, to me it was the Tiger Lil stuff on the bottom is what made the difference. What made the difference. Shannon Biggs, let's go, champ. Nice dogs. Appreciate it. Oaktown, one love. Oh, I seen Oaktown on there. One love. The Hansel stuff. Yeah, man. Old Vanguard know about all kind of dogs. Man, I had Chow Chows. Labrador. First dog was, I had them yellow labs. First dogs, I was a little boy. My very first dog. That mom with that lab was so high, he was crazy. That yellow dog. And then I had them Chow Chows. Then I had them black Chow Chow look like lions, the real deal. Not their stuff done been mixed with German Shepherds and all that, and they had colors on them, and the hair was short and the snout was long. I had that smushed in face look like a bulldog with their hair like a mane, look like you scared to death. They on bar, they just stand there and look. And then the Dobermans. And then all kind of bulldogs and mastiffs and stuff like that. I had all kind of beautiful mastiffs. Oh my God. I don't even see mastiffs look like the ones I had. I promise you the mastiffs I had would say they were short, compact, like almost like the bully dog hawk, but better conformation in the arms and the legs. They like little gladiators. Kind of just took a big mastiff dog on the pictures that we see back in the day and compact it, and it's stiff and it looks like a pit bull. Oh my God, but big, with big block, on his head, and they had a temperament out of this world. And so I had those, and but there's so much talk about how masters were and they were killing people and they could hurt somebody with oversized pit bull, and the stereotypes. My parents wasn't allowing that, me to keep raising those kind of dogs and the American pit bull terriers for a decade or so. And a historian of American pit bull terriers, because I've been around them since I was a kid. I indirectly seen a lot of dogs. I lived around a lot of dog men, stayed in the neighborhood with a lot of dog men, spent time at Ronald Boyle's house. I've been around the dog pound, Jerry Nelson, who had dogs straight from Carver himself. Jerry Nelson had the bottleneck dog, Tater, and all of those heavy boomer dogs that were direct son of Boomerang, Boomer, Grizzly, and all kind of dogs, direct sons of Boomerang, uh, David Divine. Uh, what's the other guy got in all the trouble? David Tant. I done been around all these type people, man. I done been around them people when I was a little boy. When I was a kid, a teenager, I know all them different people y'all talking about. I know them. Just like how y'all feel y'all know me and dogs, but I know them. I done been to their houses when I was a kid, teenager, not an adult. A teenager. I've been around all them dog men back in the day. So I've been around the dogs is what I'm trying to tell you. I done seen a lot of them dogs. Back before that, it was prevalent, and all the troubles and what people were doing with the dogs. That was the norm, to go to a dog show. And they damn near was hosting it like the fair, and have a dog show where they rolling them when I was a kid. I done seen a lot of dogs. I done seen all that Ironhead stuff was bad. And they stole them dogs, and there was people stealing them iron. You had said you had Ironhead offspring, you can get that stuff stolen when I was like 10 or 11. You would, well, you gonna have somebody drive from California, you live in Florida, they gonna steal your whole yard. If they knew you had some Ironhead stuff in it, Ironhead was a bad dog. If it wasn't no good if it ain't had no Ironhead in it. But people don't know that, and they don't push Ironhead name up front, and because of all of what happened. But Ironhead dogs was it, man. Yeah, so I've been around. I've seen a lot of them dogs that y'all talking about. Even Dirty Mary herself, I done pet that dog across the head. Dirty Mary. I had her daughter Red Gold. I had the daughter offer her daughter Red Gold. Clyde the Undertaker and Lug Nut. Red Gold was a double-bred granddaughter of Dirty Mary. Clyde the Undertaker was straight off Dirty Mary. Blue eye, looked white, like two blue eyes. Looked like he was a ghost. I had one. I had a son, Bahama Blue. So I've seen a lot of those American Pit Bull Terriers. They came from out of Florida. Florida was a place, man, where a lot of dogs derived from. But the Dogo dogs, Doug said you gotta check out Circle S Kennels. Circle S Kennels, like the gas station, but with Circle S. Come up to Circle S Kennels and get you a Dogo Argentine right now, today, on sale, $1,599. Yeah. What's your thought on American Bulldog? Thinking about getting one? American Bulldogs? I don't really have no opinion about them. I had American Bulldogs when I was at least under 16, all right, about 10, around between 10 years old and 16, I was allowed to have a lot of them at one time. A couple I went through a few. Mom used to put the hospital bills. I remember them catching parvo and dying off on me. But I just liked it, man. I wasn't training dogs hard back then. I mean, I've always trained dogs since I was a kid, but I'm just saying, uh, they barked at people and they did what they supposed to do back then. You know, for me, I can't really say they was working dogs or whatever it is to the level of knowledge that I have now and all of that. And most people here in Florida, you don't really see them with them dogs like that. The American Bulldog, we're not talking about the American Pit Bull Terrier, and we're not talking about an English, but the American Bulldog I'm talking about kind of looked like back then, kind of like a Kobe dog, white dogs with the patches on them like a milk cow, kind of looked like an English dog and an American Pit Bull Terrier, something cross, but it was nice looking little blockhead dogs. But I don't have an opinion about them. You know, I haven't trained with them. Don't know many people with them, so I would be given an injustice to say anything about those dogs when they probably could be good dogs. You know, if I had one that was from a working line and trained with it, and then I had a few of them and been around that area, I can in the end just come up with what I believe. Check this out, y'all. I've been here again. Like running my mouth, 61 minutes, 62. I'm about to get out of the show. This is a part of the show when I tell you guys, if you just came in, you better subscribe to my channel. I don't know if my lives go out and people are able to see my lives because I'm not knowledgeable of that part. But if you are new to my channel, you know what my channel's called? It's Vanguard Canine Trainers. And I'm Grandmaster Von the Muff. I'm one of the world's greatest puppy trainers with, of course, the world's greatest working friends, you, in TV land. This is why I need you to be a supporter of my channel. This is what keeps me coming with all of this information over and over for free every day and talk to you about dogs. If you love talking about dogs, you're going to love talking to somebody like me. I've been in the game before I knew I was in the game. I was in the game when I was born. I was born in the game. I was born this way. I am this way because I am a dog. And when I come back, I won't be in my human form. I'll probably be a dog. Yeah. So you can support my channel by becoming a Patreon. You can support my channel by buying training gear. We sell all kind of training gear. Matter of fact, I'm finna go get one for you and show you. But you can cash app us at $ULYSEEMUFFJR. I am Eula C. Muff Jr. You can also use my phone number if you're on Zelle, Apple Pay. That's 904. The area code is 904 450 3339. 904 450-3339. You can Zelle us right from that at that number. It'll go straight to us. We know it comes across the screen. You can cash app us. You know, hold on, let me get something for you guys. I must be boxed up the sleeves already. I was gonna show y'all some dog sleeves. Right now, do you need a training dog sleeve for your dogs? Tug toys, I make them for your dog at the level your dog training is. Matter of fact, I gotta get one for y'all. I'm finna give away something. Y'all hold on. Yeah. Check this out. Look at that. Handle on this end. So say for instance, you want to make drive out of this. You can make this and have your dog pull. And you can also use this as a handle. See, cover your hands real good. Come up here and get your dog bit. Ooh. Mr. Henry Brunson has purchased his dog training gear, his kit with his scented ball. Yes, he can make drive with this. He also can put odors in here of any kind, and a super soft training sleeve, but very protective for the decoy, the agitator, your helper who will be doing the work. You want one of these sleeves right now, $160. You get you a sleeve, and I'll send you a scented ball for you can start training your dog to find odors or anything you desire while you're out in the real world doing training. It's very important that you support my channel. Listen, I don't want to keep asking and sound like a delegator for a convention, but we need you. And that's the only way we survive. That's the only way we be able to get this internet and these lights going. Otherwise, JEA will cut out the lights and we out.